Hi, welcome back to the Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. Today is part one of our minimalism Q&A. I just put out a question box on social media and ask you if you have any questions on minimalism that I may not have addressed yet or something you'd like me to go a little bit deeper in depth with. So let's get started. Question one, what motivated you to go to minimalism? This is a great question, and it's really hard to think back of exactly what it was. I've never been one to hoard things or to hold on to things, and I really didn't think I had that much stuff. In fact, we traveled for 7 years, and most of our stuff was in a small storage unit. So when we moved into this house, it felt like we had so much room. We had room everywhere until we didn't. And it really was after the birth of my second child. She was about one, and she was walking and pulling everything out. And I felt like I was nonstop cleaning up, nonstop picking up. And it started to make me feel crazy. And so I realized I had two options. I could either one, lower my standards, which I probably had to do having a second child, but I knew that I just could not allow all of this mess. It would make me crazy, make my anxiety high. And so my second option was to get rid of all of the things that are unnecessary. And I'd heard of minimalism. I started digging a little bit deeper into it and discovered that it wasn't just about having a certain number of things. It was really about having only the things that you feel that are necessary in your life for you to have. And it has made a massive difference. It's one of those things that once you get started, if you develop it into a lifestyle, you begin to see how it affects all areas of your life. And I am really grateful that I started this journey and that I'm still on it. So the second question is, where do I get started? What is the best room, the easiest room, the most important room? And a lot of these questions I've received several different ways. And so I tried to combine them into one question. So where do you get started? Well, my biggest suggestion is start where you live. Don't think, oh my goodness, my attic space has been driving me nuts. I should start there. Don't start there. Start where you live. Start in your bathroom or your closet or your kitchen and your living room. Start where that you live. And it's going to take you longer than you think to do that first purge. I would recommend taking an entire day, block an entire Saturday, get some help, bring your best friend, your sister, your mom, but choose someone that is not going to be an enabler and say, oh no, you should definitely keep that. We all have that one friend that they already are some form of a minimalist or they like to get rid of things. So choose that person that's going to help you to get rid of things, that's going to give you that good advice there. And I think you will see that if you start in a room that you live in, a room that you can see an immediate impact, it's going to make a quick difference and it's going to make you want to move into other areas of your house. So the best place to start is the place that you know in your home would make the most impact. Question three, my biggest struggle is actually getting rid of the stuff once I've identified what I'm getting rid of. Should I trash it, recycle it, sell it, or donate it? And if you decide to sell or donate, what places have you had success with for getting rid of items quickly? This was another question I received in various forms. So the most important thing when you are getting rid of stuff is to get rid of it quickly. You don't want to have this room that you've cleaned and then your beautiful space is marred by these piles of boxes or trash bags that you're trying to decide what to do with. Yes, there is a certain amount of guilt that is going to be attached when you realize that you are getting rid of items that you paid hard-earned money for, that you did not use, that you haven't used, and basically that it was sort of wasteful. Put the past behind you and learn from it. We all experience that when we first start going through things, but don't let that stop you. You can decide to sell things if you want to do that. You could even do a giant garage sale if you're getting rid of a lot of things at once. However, a garage sale is a lot of work. And if you're going to do a garage sale, I would recommend having a donation pickup scheduled immediately after that garage sale. So then none of those things come back into your house. I remember when I did the first major purge for my kitchen, a lot of the things were really nice things. I had some bowls from Williams-Sonoma, and I think I put a few things on Facebook Marketplace and they sold quickly. But I decided to cut my losses in order to free up my space quickly and to to free my mind to know that, okay, this clutter is gone and everything is taken care of, I took some photos and I posted some of them on Facebook and said, okay, if anybody wants to pick these up, like pick them up today and they're yours. It ended up giving a lot of things away to friends. It ended up being fun. They were like, oh, I've always loved that you had that. And I passed that on to them. And so, yes, I could have probably made a little bit of money, but it was more important to get rid of those things. Now, after you have done your major first purge and you're slowly getting rid of some things later, Facebook Marketplace is somewhere that I've found success with. You can also schedule donation pickups, or you can just drop those donations off with your local charity or wherever you decide to do that. But the most important thing is when you do that initial purge of any room is to immediately let that stuff leave your house. Trust me, this is key, and you are going to be so thankful that you did that. Question 4. How do you get your child to agree to let go of toys? My child wants to hoard everything she has ever owned. She's really sentimental. Do I usually purge when she's not there? This is a great question, and another one that I received in multiple ways. So both of my kids are really different. One of them, it's really easy for them to get rid of things. The other one, everything is very sentimental. She remembers who gave it to her, where she was. She has memories attached to everything, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. But the number one thing that you can do is to speak about minimalism in a positive way. Speak about freeing your home from clutter and show your children the beauty of this process. I did not involve my son in this from the beginning. I started with my kitchen, I moved to my closet, and then I moved throughout the rest of the house. And on his own, he brought me some things and said, hey, Mom, I've decided to get rid of some things in my own room that I want to get rid of. Here's a box of stuff that I no longer want. And so I think that if we model things, that is the most important thing. I do not recommend getting rid of stuff primarily when they are not there for the majority of things. I think we should involve them in that process. We run the risk of creating a child that wants to hang on to everything because one day they're going to tell their therapist, behind my back, my mother got rid of my most prized possessions. And I just don't want to do that to my children. And so what I have done is we have our monthly section of the house that I'm going to clean. And so when it's time for me to deep clean their bedrooms, they're a part of the process. I ask my daughter, choose your favorite toys, and we really focus on what are your favorites. And maybe the first time they're not going to get rid of as much as you want, but slowly they will. Now, she has like a little art drawer, and it has coloring books in it that are used, and she is not going to on her own say, hey, this coloring book has all of the pages filled. She's going to put it back in there. And so if she's not here, occasionally I'll go through that drawer, straighten it up, throw some of those things out. But for her toys and the things that she loves, I do not recommend going and behind their back and getting rid of them. I think that you're going to do more harm than good. So this leads us to the last question. How do you assess what stays and what goes as far as toys? This is a really great question because this is an area that probably it was the main area that sent me into minimalism. I was over all of the toys. And we have so many wonderful people in our life that bless our kids with toys and they get so many things for Christmas and birthday and all of that. And it's all wonderful, but sometimes it becomes too much. Or you go out of town and you feel a little bit guilty because you didn't take your kids with you, and which is very healthy for you and your spouse to go out of town, but somehow we feel guilty. And so we bring them back presents. This is an area that just about every home that has kids has a problem with, is too many toys. And so what I have done is I choose categories. Like right now, she has some toys downstairs in a closet that's right off of our living room that has some baskets. And then she has some toys upstairs in her room. Upstairs in her room, she has a basket of little like vet doctor kit. She has a basket of doll stuff, and she has a basket of dress up. When I'm going through those toys, I try to keep things in those categories. And if there's something that she doesn't play with or just doesn't fit in there, I try to encourage her to let that be something that she lets go of. Downstairs, she has a basket of little people. She has some puzzles, some blocks, and then a miscellaneous toy basket. And if I notice that any of those start to get too full, then we are going to do something about that. I want it to be where that at any space, if she pulls all of her toys out, then in less than 5 minutes, I can quickly clean it up. And yes, I have timed it before to see how quickly it took to clean her toys up. And thankfully, it does take less than 5 minutes. So I think just choosing some categories, the categories they play with. There may be things that you say, hey, this is a really great toy, but they never play with it. It's okay to put that up for later. And then when they get rid of something else, bring that toy out. Another really important thing that sort of moves out of this question, but it's for the future of your home in order to keep those toys at bay, is we have to really focus on what we're bringing into our home. That is a really great way to keep all of the clutter, all of the toys that can pile up. They can keep that from being too much, is if you start really focusing on what you're bringing into your house, what that you're buying for Christmas, what you're buying for birthdays. Be sure that either it's a consumable where they can play with it and they can make something and then they'll toss it, or it's something that can replace something else. This concludes part 1 of this video series. I do have part 2 coming soon, and I hope that I've answered some of your questions. But if your question was not addressed here, I would love for you to comment below or go find me on Facebook or Instagram and send me a message there to let me know what question that you would like for me to answer for part 2. If you've enjoyed these videos and would like to see more, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you can be notified when the next videos come out.